Good morning. I hate to be the one to interrupt all these wonderful, wonderful networking. Good morning again. Could we please take our seats so we can get going? Are you all excited? Couldn't hear it. Are we excited? Awesome, awesome, wonderful. Well, good morning again, and welcome to the Amazon Supplier Sustainability Summit. I hope you all had a productive morning, that you were able to make lots of connections, and that you are getting ready to fasten your seatbelt as we are embarking in a journey that will be filled with learning, networking, collaborations, and actions. Today, we are turning insight into actions. So before telling you a little bit about the rest of the program, I would love to pause and start with gratitude, right? So those who know me will tell you that whenever you ask one day, in the 5 languages that I speak, English is not one of those because I'm still learning, right? And so sometimes when all 5 tend to hit me, I start speaking gibberish, right? So if you all hear gibberish at some point, that means they're hitting me at the same time. Just make some noise. Okay, so whenever I'm asked, how am I doing? I say, I am thankful and grateful. Because I have a reason to be thankful and grateful. I'm here because 4 years ago, as I was heading back home to my beloved, beautiful Mali in West Africa, I did receive a call from an Amazon recruiter saying, hey, Wande, we are looking for a team of leaders to come, roll up their sleeves, think big, learn and be curious, and not only create, but launch the global supplier development and impact strategy for Amazon. So I paused for a moment because I couldn't say yes immediately. I needed to make 2 things were in place. The first one was I needed to make sure that my higher purpose, which is to force multiply economic impact in communities globally, aligned with the Amazon collective purpose of success and scale brings broad responsibilities. Isn't that what we hear? Yes. Energy, guys, energy. Awesome. The second thing I needed to line up was that leadership was right. Now, I know perfection doesn't exist, so I was not looking for a perfect leader, but I was looking for a leader who shared the vision, a leader who actually walked the talk. And so when I had my conversation with my hiring manager, he is in the room. Kennedy, do you want to just say hi, so everybody can see where you are? Kennedy, the vice president of Global Procurement Organization, hearing his vision, hearing his determination to really use procurement, responsible sourcing as a lever to not only create business impact, but to really create impact in our society, I was like, yes. Can we applaud to that? I love it. So the gratitude continues. Because again, it takes a village. It takes each and every one of us in this room. To our supplier and industry partners, thank you for leading with purpose and for continuing to inspire the next generations of leaders to come. We know you all have gone through storms and fires to be here. Wow, what a resiliency. But here you are. Can we give you a round of applause? Can you give yourself a round of applause? To all of our Amazon leadership team in this room and beyond, thank you for your dedication, your determination to make the world a better one for all of us. To all of the Amazonians, the 1.5 million Amazonians, many of whom are in the room, thank you for always finding a way. Because at Amazon, we always find a way. Impossible does not exist in our dictionary. We find a way. So thank you. To our incredible event planning and coordination team led by the Florida MSDC, thank you, Beatrice and Kimi. Our event planning team under Chris's leadership, thank you so much for all that you did to make sure this event is seamless and smooth and that everyone can have an amazing experience. To my incredible team, the Strategic Engagement and Partnership, thank you so much for working days and nights to make sure this event is a success. Can we applaud? Now, my name is Wande Diakite Lentu. We can come to me now, right? And I have the privilege not only to serve as your MC, but to also serve as the Global Head of Strategic Engagement and Partnership for the Global Procurement Sustainability in the fabulous Global Procurement Organization. That's a lot of global, right? I love it. So my team is responsible for creating the partnership strategies that empower not only our supplier partners, our industry partners, and all of our stakeholders to advance procurement sustainability, not just within Amazon, but across the global economy. And we will not stop until we get there. So to ground us, I'd like to take a moment to define, when we talk about responsible procurement at Amazon, what are we talking about, right? Because it's defined in so many ways within the industry. But for us, really, when we talk about it, we are focusing on 4 key elements, right, that allows us to leverage procurement as a transformational lever that creates economic, social, and environmental impact in our communities while driving values for our shareholders. So one, we want to make sure that we partner with all of you in the room to minimize our impact, our environmental impact. Hence our convention, our pledge to reach a zero carbon emission by 2040, which is 10 years ahead of the Paris Convention. Second, we want to make sure we are safeguarding human rights across our entire value chain. We want to drive social impact in our communities, do good in these communities, so these communities can see Amazon and receive us and welcome us with the smiles that we work so hard to deliver. Last but not least, we want to make sure we are continuing to amplify the inclusion of disadvantaged-owned businesses in our supply chain. So the theme guiding our conversation today, as you all have seen across multiple places, is mapping sustainability pathways, navigating tomorrow's economy with the tagline, charting success through sustainability innovation. And this theme is all about helping each of you see where your business fits, where we all fit, right, within this broader sustainability journey, and how innovation can turn responsibility into real competitive advantage. So we want to make sure you all leave with a few things today. Our goal is really threefold. One, we want to make sure you all understand how we leverage these 4 key elements to connect and how they can strengthen your business and our business. We also want to make sure that you all are inspired, right, with all these wonderful real-world examples and practical tools that show sustainability is not just good for the planet, that is important and valuable for growth. We also want to listen to you, because we know you all are the expert, right? We want to understand your challenges. We want to hear your perspective, your insight, your amazing ideas, so we can continue to build a sustainable future together through procurement. So we've curated an amazing agenda, where you're going to be hearing great, speeches from keynote, great panel conversations, roundtable conversations, and just wonderful networking. And so as we begin the session today, I invite you to stay curious, to connect widely, and most importantly, to think big, not just about what's possible for Amazon, but what is possible within our value chain, what is possible within our supply chain, because together we will chart the pathway to a more resilient, inclusive, and sustainable economy. So with that, let's go through the program. Okay, I think I'm going too fast. Awesome, wonderful. All right, so this is what we're going to be talking about today. We want to make sure, first of all, that we set our course. I should have brought my glasses, so I'm going to move closer. Awesome. So we want to set our course. We'll bring, one of our great Amazon leaders that we are super proud of to set the tone. We also will bring our keynote speakers From that, we're going to just take you through a conversations of Amazonian leaders that will talk about the procurement landscape and how we are leveraging sustainability to really advance good for our communities. We're going to go into networking lunch. We want to make sure you all are fed, right? And so from there, we'll go into another conversation with some of our wonderful supplier partners that are really exemplifying what it means to drive responsible sourcing across supply chains. Then we'll go into our dive dips. We're gonna have a series of roundtable intimate conversations, really just to make sure that we are collaborating, we're networking, we're hearing from you all. Does that sound good? Awesome, awesome, awesome. So moving along, right, I also get the privilege and honor to introduce you to Daniel Mallory. Daniel is our Vice President of Global Realty at Amazon. He brings over 2 decades of leadership experience in global real estate development, strategy, and operations. Before joining Amazon in 2021, Daniel spent 23 years at Walmart, where he rose through the ranks to become Senior Vice President of Realty. Throughout his career, he has led large, diverse teams across multiple markets and cultures, driving complex projects from concept to completion, and delivering results in some of the most competitive environments in the world. And so with no further ado, I would love to bring Daniel to kick us off.
Thank you, Anande. Now, they said they're live streaming, so let's really light that up. So, people live streaming have got to know what they're missing, right? So that they're here the next time. Who among you, this is your first Amazon GPO Global Sustainability Conference that you've come to? Look at that, look at that. Who among you, this is your second one you've come to? Yeah, no. This is our first. This is the first. Let's hear it for that. Let's hear it for our first one. No, wrong. Stop clapping. Stop clapping. That is not necessarily something to celebrate. It's actually a bit of an indictment. Who are we? Who is Amazon? Who is this partner that you're looking to work with? We're a global leader in so many things. We're a global leader across several different industries. Where I lead in real estate, my responsibility is for all of our operational facilities around the world. So from our big 3 million square foot robotic centers to our little tiny quick commerce delivery, we're responsible for building all of those. And you want to know what, Kennedy, I just applaud you for kicking this off and having this sustainability meeting. We actually, in Global Realty, just had our first one a couple months back in New York as well. And why are we doing this? We have a new leadership principle, new to us, about 3 years old, and it said, with scale and success becomes broad responsibility. What does that even mean? What does it even mean? You look at our steps, our growth over time, over the years, and when you look back at that, how much success we've had, how much scale we've had, I think we've got some catching up to do. We've got some catching up to do. And that's why it's such a privilege to have this group here today, to have partners and vendors from around the world here today to come in and to focus on this key issue, to focus on these key initiatives about how we together can become better. Why do we want it? What does better mean? What is this sustainability thing? I think it's interesting. I'll jump right into the deep end here, Kennedy, if that's okay. But you know how many people I've had come up to me and ask, with the administrative change, how are things going? What's changed? Nothing. Our focus is on making lives better for our customers. Our focus is on delivering to a 2040 goal for net zero carbon. These are our focuses. That's the pledge that we've made. We're going to go through several other administration changes before we hit that target, but what is our focus? See, we're not here to just chase a narrative. We're not here to just chase a marketing situation. We're here to actually deliver change. Now, what that means for us, I'll break it down, I'll use a little alliteration. I was talking to some folks out in the hallway, and we started talking about why we're doing this, what are we trying to affect, and I'll say there's two key areas that we want to focus on, and that is, are the things we're proposing, are they relevant to our customers? Are they relevant to the industry that we're in? Are we ensuring that your services that you're bringing reflect the times that we're in, that we're looking ahead into the near future and long term to say, is it going to be relevant? Is the materials we're proposing going to have a lasting effect? Is the service we're looking to provide going to be something that can scale up over time? Are we relevant? The second thing that I'd ask you to consider is it resilient? So I think another word for sustainability, another word for all the efforts that we're undertaking is resiliency. Are we building buildings that last? Are we having relationships and putting together processes that last? Are they resilient over time? Kind of like the hardening of our assets. We have significant climate change in some areas, so we're asking questions. We're actually having to look at snow loads in Texas right now, right? Well, this is one of the things that we're doing. Do we have resilient buildings over time? And we look at this around the world. Are we relevant? Is it resilient? And both these things together, if we're doing it right and we're engaging across vendors, across partnerships, if we're working with jurisdictions effectively, that impacts basically our reputation, right? It represents what we stand for. And I really like the idea of standing for something that we're already delivering, right? Because I think sometimes we have the tendency to sort of declare the narrative, we sort of declare the reputation, and then we say, okay, now let's go do the thing. And it's funny how that thing might never come together. But I think we have an opportunity to say, no, here's resilient partnerships. No, here's relevant actions we're taking, and now we base our reputation on that. And I think when we have that strong foundation across vendor partnerships, and actually a lot more importantly, Kenny, I think internal to Amazon, ourselves, working together, coordinating. We have the head of global corporate procurement. We have the head of global operations procurement. You have the head of global realty, and we're all talking together saying, how do we get better in this place to have a foundation so that we can turn to you as strong partners and say, let's go, let's execute to this. And if that's real, if that's effective, my fourth R, we'll get a good return. Little secret. We're all here to make money, right? Anyone? Yeah? Okay, thank you. Jessica, being honest. We're here to drive a return. We have a fiduciary obligation to our shareholders to maximize our return. See, I don't think we do this to be altruistic. And I think sometimes that might be a mistake we make. We're not trying to, put on a show, or again, create a false narrative or to look good. We're actually trying to do good. And by actually doing good, we'll get investment. By doing good, we'll get customer interaction and engagement. By doing good, we'll sign that deal. By doing good, we will procure through you. By doing good, we get to return. We satisfy that fiduciary obligation that we all have and hold dear. And as we do that, ultimately, the goal of all of us, we satisfy our customer. We delight our customer. Ultimately, that's what Amazon is in business to do, to delight the customer. And all of this is a pathway not to look good for our customer, but to do good by the customer. And that's not just on a nuance. I think it's the real thing that we need to drive and really focus on. So we have a meeting like this, bringing these vendors together, and even going around the room talking to some different groups. We are all in different parts of the journey. There are some tables right now who are sitting, I have come to listen, to learn, to understand Amazon. I want to know where you're at, right? That's fair. We have other tables sitting here who are coming in saying, Amazon, I want to tell you where you need to be at, right? I've got the innovation. I've got the plan. That's exactly what we want. We want to hear from all backgrounds, all perspectives. We're sitting here having this meeting because we understand when we look at ourselves and our foundation, oh, there's some cracks, there's some gaps, there's some things we're missing. We're not sure how we'll get this innovation. If anyone's ever seen any type of graphic in terms of net zero carbon for any company, what do? We always have this high carbon output, and what do? It's this beautiful linear sweeping curve down to the future, and it looks so good. Does anybody believe that that is a real curve? No. The curve has a lot of gaps. The curve's got some ups and downs. The curve will have some dotted, faded out lines. Why? Because we need the innovation to figure out how to span that divide. We can't do it alone. So we come together because I'm very confident we can do it together. And not just in an Amazon vendor relationship, but if we look at it, what I'm looking at, an Amazon vendor industry relationship. Said a number of times, sustainability is not an area where we seek competitive advantage. All right? Sustainability is not an area where we should be seeking a competitive advantage. It should be an area where we are looking to advantage the industry and drive industry forward. And if we can play a part because of our scale and because of our success in delivering on that broad responsibility, that's why we're here together today. So it's an incredible program that we've got lined up for you. And let this be, for some of you, this is a great step in the journey. For some of you, if this is that first step in that journey, let this meeting and this time together serve to be that launching point for future innovation and discussion as we all strive to do good by our customer each day. Thank you, Renan.
Come to Timbuktu with me. No one? Okay, awesome. Daniel, thank you so much I told you he was going to set the tone and that he is super inspiring. What do you say? Did he set the tone? Yes. Was he super inspiring? Yes. Awesome, awesome. I was taking some notes, so hopefully you all are taking notes as well. Daniel said we're not trying to look good, we are trying to do good. And guess what? We want to do good with each and every one of you in the room and beyond. Can we do good together? Yes. Okay, so let's do good. Awesome. Well, another big way at Amazon we power our commitment is by collaborating with notable experts who specializes in sustainability and leverage technology in how they manage around this sustainability. And so with that, I'm honored to welcome our keynote speaker, Terry Ann Brown, Senior Director of Miami TechWorks. Miami TechWorks is a workforce intermediary funded with $16 million through the Economic Development Administration with the goal of strengthening talent pipelines and ensuring business success. Terry has also led major initiatives to support startups and small businesses with mentorship, commercialization, and access to funding. In her current role, Terry serves as one of the leaders of the Risk and Resiliency Tech Hub in South Florida's emergency ecosystem, focused on advanced materials to strengthen our infrastructure. Please help me give a warm welcome as I hand the mic to Terry Ann. Thank you.
Thank you so much. Hi, good morning, everyone. Can you hear me? So you're going to hear me repeat a little bit of what Don, I think you stole my thunder a little bit. First, I want to just extend my thanks to the Amazon team for welcoming me, as well as Beatrice Lusant and the Florida Minority Supplier Development Council. Just to give you a little bit more about Miami TechWorks, we are funded through the Economic Development Administration under the Department of Commerce. So I like to say that I manage federal dollars, I put it into the community, and then I like to see where those monies can help develop a sustainable talent pipeline and also strengthen our business community, because the two go hand in hand. Without our business owners, we really cannot have a functioning talent pipeline system that doesn't work for you and to the benefit of you. So at the end of the day, I just like to manage federal dollars to do that. The first $10 million that we received was specifically for tech talent pipeline. That went to support programs like Miami-Dade College, FIU, Florida Memorial University, which is our only HBCU here, as well as some of our non-traditional talent providers that typically worked with people maybe from prison pipeline or folks that didn't traditionally have access to digital readiness. With that, our goal was to train 1,000 people, place 500 folks in jobs, but also look at what are some of the economic mobility drivers that we could infuse into the community, like digital readiness. Now, we've since been refunded again with another $6 million under the Risk and Resilience Tech Hub. Anybody familiar with the CHIPS and Science Act? Maybe a little bit. We were identified as an emerging sector in South Florida that could respond whenever there's a weather impact occurring event. Notice I said that without saying climate, right? Because it's probably one of those words that we can't really agree on anymore, climate or green. But what we are doing is we are commercializing advanced materials and infrastructure, concrete, cement, those materials that can strengthen how we build our bridges, our roads, our homes, 3D printing of homes, seawalls. How do we capture wave energy coming off of the seas and make that into renewable energy that we could then power buildings with? These are all technologies that our universities, our colleges are developing through IP and tech commercialization. But what do you need in order to do that? You need a workforce. You need talent pipeline. So I'm really happy to lead that work here locally, and I welcome all of you to learn more about what we're doing with Miami Tech Works, as well as the Risk and Resilience Tech Hub. And so part of what I was gonna mention is you can't really talk about sustainability with also talking about resilience. And I realize that that carries different meanings depending upon where you are in your state of mind, depending upon what your risk tolerance is, and also depending upon whatever situation and mindset that you're currently approaching that sustainability conversation. But there are just three things that I think as individuals, business owners, suppliers, investors, no matter where you are, that we always want to consider where we play in whatever ecosystem we're in. And we all can play different parts in multiple different ecosystems. I consider myself to be a part of the workforce ecosystem, but also part of the greater economic development ecosystem. But also at the same time, I'm a mom. I have a 17-year-old that does travel volleyball, so I consider that to be an ecosystem as well, and one that I want to see be able to sustain and thrive and also become resilient. And so the three common things that go along with sustainability and resilience is awareness, urgency, and opportunity. And I want you to think back to March 13th, 2020, or for some of us, maybe it was March 15th, 2020. I don't think I'll ever forget that day. My daughter was gonna go to a Miami Heat game. That was their field trip, and everything got canceled. We were told that there was no longer gonna be any in-person school as of that Monday. We were told that students would need to come in and pick up a laptop if you didn't have a laptop already. We were told that parents would now need to make sure that their students were checking in online from school. And we were also told that you had to have this app called Zoom. And for the first time, my daughter got to experience the pain that I get to experience when somebody doesn't know how to mute themselves on a Zoom call. But to put that in perspective for South Florida, where almost 54% of our population is born in another country, you now had parents who had their kids home with them on these laptops, required to tune in for 7, 8 hours a day, and we realized that there was a digital readiness gap, right? So there were times when my daughter called me in for tech support as well, like, hey, my teacher can't figure out what's going on with Zoom, can you help? Or hey, my friend's parents can't figure out what's going on with this online Canvas, can you help as well? So what we were faced with was there were a lot of kids that had absenteeism. We saw a lot of learning gaps starting to happen. We've all heard that math and science and reading gaps are happening, and we still have not recovered from it. So if your child was in third grade then, and third grade is a really critical age for reading, guess what? 5 years later, now they're in 8th grade, 9th grade, getting ready to go into high school. Really peak point for workforce development. If they were in 9th grade, guess what? Now they're in college, or they might even be part of that workforce that's really important for you all as employers. And if they were in that other peak transitional time of maybe a freshman in college, they are in the workforce. But more importantly, they are also the generation that is most concerned about sustainability. They are the generation that is most concerned about values alignment when it comes to where do they purchase, who are they going to work for, which brands do they want to align themselves with, and when they think about their future sustainability options, they're the ones that are probably going to be making the decision more than anyone else. So I want you guys to sit on that for a little bit. We learned lots of lessons from that COVID experience. Millions of dollars were then infused into digital readiness training. Here in Miami, we had nonprofit organizations begin cohorts around training parents on digital literacy in multiple different languages. Then we had a lot of small businesses who also recognized the opportunity to take advantage of this pipeline, creating the courses for digital readiness skills. We have the luxury now of hindsight in this situation to say that if we were aware of how big this gap was, maybe we would have done more outreach to those parents. Maybe we would have encouraged them more to get more involved in the technology skills that their students needed. Maybe we would have done this. Maybe we would have done more in-person training with the parents. But what we realized is that our education system started to show certain cracks. So that was one experience that I had with COVID. The other was, I had the opportunity to partner with Office Depot, where they wanted to leverage their experience as a Fortune 500 company and say, how could we benefit small businesses throughout our country that were impacted by COVID to ensure that they were resilient and they were strong? And so we created a mentorship program called Elevate Together. Throughout 10 different states, we gave $2.5 million to small businesses, typically your mom and pop, maybe even your small business that started out at a church or just through a home. But more importantly, we provided them with structured business mentorship. And one of the things that I learned after doing this program is the businesses that were best positioned to survive were the ones that had great operational procedures. If they didn't have their finances in order, they weren't going to get the PPP. If they couldn't clearly document that they were fully functioning, had payroll, et cetera, they were left out of the PPP conversation. And so once again, we were left with lack of awareness and maybe not so much of an urgency to respond to that situation. But out of that came opportunities for people to recognize, if I could just support the small businesses more in identifying these potential threats, maybe we could prevent the next situation from happening, the next pandemic. So if awareness is our first step during the pandemic, recognizing what we didn't know, urgency is what is going to drive us to act before the next disruption. And opportunity is what's going to happen when we partner together. And so right now, we do have the privilege of awareness. Because I'm sure you cannot open up your email, go onto LinkedIn, watch the news, without hearing anything about AI, semiconductor, advanced manufacturing, robotics, et cetera. And what does that mean for our entire value chain, whether it's workforce, small business, suppliers, et cetera? So we can't escape it. But now we have to move from the theoretical to the operational. What are we going to do about it now that we know that it's happening? We just had a conference with the previous Assistant Secretary of Commerce, Alejandra Castillo. And the analogy that she presents is, it's a tsunami. You're on the beach, you can see the wave coming, and you have the opportunity to either wait for the wave to come closer, or you can get to higher ground and then ride the wave, or just let the wave pass you while you watch, study, and learn it. So the awareness of it is, you can see it, know that it's coming, but the urgency is in how are we going to be intentional with that urgency. And so when I'm talking about urgency, I'm not talking about the panic and the fear and AI is going to take jobs. I think we've moved beyond that. That's just my personal preference. And I can say that because part of the work that we do with Miami Tech Works is we do bring in employers and we ask them for how they're thinking about AI, how are they planning on implementing it, and we have them work along with students that are getting certifications in AI. So that way the businesses and the students are working closely together. And we're finding that when that happens, employment happens, projects happen, commercializations happen, and it reduces the fear from both sides that, hey, you know what, I don't have to not hire somebody, I don't have to rely totally on the AI tools, I can actually bring in talent when doing it. So when I think about urgency, I'm thinking about intentional urgency, I'm thinking about how can I leverage what's going on around me to not only upskill small businesses, but also upskill the talent and the workforce. Because as I mentioned before, those kids that may have been affected by COVID, they're the ones that are part of the talent pipeline now. Those small businesses that might have been affected by COVID and needed some resiliency and sustainability planning, they are the ones that could be advantageous and take advantage of the opportunity of AI, semiconductor, et cetera. So we've already learned the cost of delayed urgency. We see what happens when systems fail to modernize, and we see what happens when parents fail to learn new tools, when organizations wait to reskill their people. And we also see what happens when organizations fail to bring in operational excellence or seek out the help that can drive operational excellence. And for those of us that are providers, business owners, urgency means taking action now so that before the gap becomes a crisis. So this is a great time where you can lean into your strengths and then find the partners in the room or within your ecosystem that can complement your weaknesses and build some of that revenue generation, that wealth, that when the next opportunity comes, you'll be ready for it, especially when it comes to procurement. So I would be remiss if I didn't leverage this opportunity to tell you that I'm Jamaican by birth. Yeah, woof. And while I think about and first off, I can tell you that I lived there until I was 5, so I'm a cultural Jamaican, but I don't have a lot of lived experience as a Jamaican. But I did not experience American food until I went away to college. So I did not even experience what lasagna tasted like until I went away to college. But one thing about being Jamaican is we are extremely resilient folks. And innovation came out of necessity. And so what you might be seeing now on the TV screen as very destroyed infrastructure, et cetera, just know that there were carpenters that built it. There were definitely construction workers, very talented folks that needed to build those structures because they had no choice and they used the materials that they did. And so when I think about where we could play a role as part of the Risk and Resiliency Tech Hub, we are leading with one of the oldest, most innovative construction companies, Titan America, that is creating an efficient way to create concrete and cement that is carbon reducing in the process, as well as in how folks will place the concrete. But they're not doing it by themselves, right? So they need the academic institutions around it. General contractors to understand what is this new material, how it is going to benefit me in terms of procurement, what is going to be the speed to implement this new material when I do get a job site around it. They need the architecture firms to be able to understand how do you leverage this new concrete as the world moves towards this new net zero in 2040. They're going to need the salespeople to understand how do you communicate this concrete to everyone else. So there's that entire value chain. And from a workforce perspective, I need to know, how do I get young people to care about concrete? How do I get them to think, man, you know what, this is a really great opportunity. I can earn, you know, 6 figures by the time I'm in my 20s because I'm doing this type of job. So there is a whole value chain there. And then there's the opportunity that comes out of a situation like Hurricane Melissa, where we can say, we know what it takes to rebuild infrastructure. Let's respond to Jamaica and let's provide that subject matter expertise to help Jamaica recover their infrastructure. So there's awareness, there's urgency, and there's opportunity. And sometimes you have to look for that through tragedy as well. And that's what we learned through COVID. That's probably what we're going to learn through Hurricane Melissa. And it's also what we're going to learn as our economy shifts and bring in things like AI, like semiconductor. Florida has the Semiconductor Institute. Miami-Dade College is building the Semiconductor Lab. One of the things that we're learning about how do you talk about semiconductor opportunities to young people is, hey, have you ever thought about medical jobs? Have you ever thought about the building of chips? But also, those chips have to be packaged and shipped in a certain way. And then they need materials handling. You need to be able to ensure that, that there's safety in the way that you pack the chips. There's going to be all these transferable skills and all these necessary subject matter experts and ideas that's going to help shore up this economy. So if you're in medical distribution and you've got to package things like safety equipment, needles, et cetera, how could those skills also transfer over to packaging of highly sensitive chips needed by Micron, needed by NVIDIA? There's transferability of skills there. Awareness, urgency, opportunity. So I'm going to go back to what Wande said. Be curious. Ask those questions about who's in the room or who is potentially in the ecosystem that's thinking about these things, and where could you lean into your strengths that could create those opportunities for you. So I'll leave you with this. As we think about the 3 themes that I've talked about today, awareness, urgency, and opportunity. Urgency moves our feet, opportunity expands our reach, and together, the opportunity exists within our ecosystems, within us communicating with each other, and within us building upon that to create the generational wealth and the economic mobility for the ecosystems that we're in. So, I will thank you.
Hello, hello, how was that? Awesome, awesome. Well, thank you so much, Darian, for an incredible knowledge share, awareness, urgency, and opportunities. So hopefully you all will leverage these 3 words to really advance procurement sustainability within your own value chains. And it was also very inspiring to hear Darian talk about the intersectionality between sustainability and technology and highlighting how the future is sustainability and technology. So thank you so much again. So I get the privilege, I have a lot of privileges today. So I get the privilege to introduce the next program, the next panel. It is Compass Point, your guide to Amazon's procurement landscape. Remember, when I first started, I said, hey, I started 4 years ago as part of a team of leaders that came, rolled up their sleeves, and created and launched the global SDI strategy. So for those who remember, you will get the privilege also and the honor to hear from one of those leaders, as I like to call him, my brother, mon frère en français, Leonard Spencer, right, who heads our global procurement sustainability. And you have the second one sitting here. She's hiding, and I've been doing eye contact. She's been saying, Wanda, don't say anything. Cassandra Devine, Director of GPO Procurement Strategy, who was front and center alongside mon frère, Leonard Spencer, in really bringing us where we are today. So Cassandra, thank you. All right, so with that, this panel is a group of subject matter expert, visionary leaders from Amazon who are eager to share insight around our procurement priorities. How are we evolving to meet the challenges of today and the future? Opportunities, as well as what are we doing in responses to these challenges, and how can you all join us in this sustainability journey? So with that, I would love to bring mon frère, Leonard Spencer, to the stage, as well as our amazing Amazon leaders, John Carter, Director of Global Corporate Procurement, Antoine McNeil, Head Global Health and Safety Procurement, Caleb Schwer, Director of Procurement Operations. Panelists, the stage is yours. Thank you.
Good afternoon, everyone. Oh, come on now. Good afternoon, everyone. Good afternoon. That's a little bit better. We're going to make it do what it do, as they say. So welcome to our panel. So excited to be here with three of my favorite guys on the planet. You know, as we work every day to be the most customer-centric company on the planet. And so as I welcome you, I want you to know that today I have the distinct honor to be your tour guide on our journey, which in our panel, we're going to talk about Amazon's procurement sustainability landscape, all right? And so, as Wanda mentioned, I lead our global procurement sustainability team, which really consists of 4 pillars around community impact, around social responsibility, around sustainability, and finally, around supplier development and impact. And so we're going to talk about how Amazon is aligning our procurement strategies with all of these sustainability goals, and how not only our decisions today impact our operations, but how they help to future-proof our supply chain. And so I'm so happy to have this conversation today with our panelists who represent different corners of Amazon. And so I want to take a moment and let our panelists talk about how they're balancing innovation, responsibility, navigating our trade-offs between what we think about is global efficiency with how we're actually impacting and engaging with our local economies, and how we're uncovering routes that are worth following, right? And eliminating roadblocks so that, you know, we can create paths for, you know, our suppliers to be successful as we ultimately try to deliver for our customers. And so what I love for each of our panelists to do as we embark on this journey is tell us a little bit about your role and how you interface with our Amazon supplier partners. So we start.
Okay.
Amazon,
Yeah.
Antoine?
Yeah, I'm happy to start. So one, thank you all for taking the time to sit through this session. Leonard, thank you for introducing us. And for my fellow panel members, thank you for taking the time to go through this with us. So in global health, safety, and procurement, we procure all health and safety supplies and services globally. And what that means is that if there is a product that our associates need, we are responsible for identifying the source, negotiating the price, for for those products, making sure we have the right method in terms of service delivery, and then ultimately get that product to our associates so they can do their job. And I want to give you a little example of, in details of what are some of the items that and services that we procure. So, and because we're global, for example, in Europe, we have essentially medical facilities, minor clinics in some of our large buildings, our large facilities. So we procure doctor services, emergency services, where if there's an incident at one of our buildings and an ambulance or so forth has to come to that facility. In Canada, we procure nurse practitioners. We also procure all the safety items for our associates globally. And Amazon, we are the largest purchaser of gloves, safety gloves, and the largest purchaser in the world of safety shoes. And so you can imagine that that is quite a bit that we have to manage. And then I want to give you just a few principles that we use to drive how we perform our role within Amazon. So one of the things, there's really kind of 5 core pillars that I'd like to focus us around. So the first is we are hyper-focused on ensuring the best value for Amazon. Hands down, that is what we're here for. And the question is, how do you do that, right? There are many ways that you can do that. So we lean into ensuring continuity of supply. If we don't have the safety supplies that our associates need, then we can't get the packages to our customers in the time that we want to ensure that they get everything that they need. So it's important to have continuity of supply. We're focused on quality, and so we'd like to say we procure the products that people love. So we're not just focused on getting a product that meets a requirement, but how well does the fit of that product matches or works for our associates. So we want top-line products. The fourth pillar is that we're focused on unmatched customer buying convenience. So how can we get that product to our associates faster in a more easy and convenient method? And then the final is, which is really why we're here today, is we like to focus on what I call procure with purpose. So it's one thing to procure, right? In this business, everybody has a responsibility of sourcing and identifying the items that you're going to use to manage your business. But there are many ways you can do that, right? You can do it in ways that are destructive to the environment, that are destructive to communities. And so we are hyper-focused on ensuring that we're procuring in a way that is purposeful, that supports our environment, that supports and drives impact to the communities that we serve.
Thank you, Antoine. Thank you for those 5 keys. I think those were, some key points. Hopefully everyone was taking notes around those 5 keys. Also, hope you took notes that Amazon is the largest procurer of safety shoes on the planet. So that was pretty interesting. Thank you for that little tidbit.
In particular, I was interested in the nurse practitioner.
Yeah,
My daughter is in nursing school. Well, she is a nurse, and she's in nurse practitioner school. I'm going to give her your contact. She graduates at the end of 26, so
awesome.
That's going to be awesome.
Well, you might have to give it to the suppliers, because this was an example of how we work with the suppliers. But
Wonderful,
I love it.
wonderful.
Well, John, why don't we stay with you, John? Why don't you, again, tell us a little bit about your role and how you interface with Amazon Supplier Network?
Sure. So I'm John Carter. I lead the global corporate procurement team. That includes categories such as employee services, professional services, marketing. We have global corporate real estate. We have a logistics team, a technology team, and a team focusing on emerging businesses, as well as our subsidiaries, like Kuiper and Whole Foods, supporting them. One thing to call out that is, I think, important for this room to know is that our supply chain makes up about 75% of our carbon footprint. And so when we think about the billions of dollars that we're spending with you, what you're doing matters so much. We can't achieve our climate pledge without embracing you and your innovation. We certainly have a lot of talented people at Amazon, but we also work with talented suppliers such as yourselves. You bring innovation to us, you bring ideas, you challenge our thinking, and I very much want to just say thank you for that. It's really very much appreciated. How do we engage? I want to give a quick shout out. If I had to call a friend, we're on a game show, I'd be calling out Max Cannell in the back there. Max has been working directly with our worldwide sustainability team and across procurement teams to collaborate with our suppliers and find out, do our suppliers have any sort of sustainability plan? What is that plan? Are they tracking their objectives? Are they able to report those objectives? If they are, that's awesome. If they're not, he's working with our team and our business partners to work with our suppliers and helping them find resources on the sustainability exchange. There's guidelines, there's tools and resources that companies have available to them if they need it. We've been really successful this year in furthering that endeavor.
Thanks, John.
Yep.
Really appreciate it. Caleb.
Yes, sir. Caleb Struer, I'm Director of Procurement Operations for the U.S. Field Team. My team is responsible for operationalizing procurement at a site level. Carrie Ann said something earlier, I'm going to steal it. She said, we're moving from theoretical to operational. And that's where my team plugs in, is we are trying to ensure that we set our suppliers up for success, and that when you come to a site, that you are successful. My team is embedded within the communities that we serve, so it's something that's very near and dear to my heart. All the gloves that Antoine talked about, I'm sure he'll talk about the R3 program. If we're not reusing them, we're not recycling them, they're going in a local landfill, and they're passing through our team. So it is something that's very important to us, and really sustainability has become a must-have, not a nice-to-have in Amazon. Our Vice President Kennedy will say that we are an and company, not an or company. And sustainability is one of those things that we have to have now. It has become one of our ands.
Awesome. Thanks, Caleb. And, I appreciate all of you and the work that you do because you're big collaborators with, our team. And so when we think about my team, I mentioned earlier across our 4 pillars, what we want to do is to make sure that every purchasing decision that we make is aligning with Amazon's values, but also helping us achieve our sustainability goals. And as you've heard all of us mention, Amazon has some pretty significant sustainability goals that we're trying to hit. And we want to make sure as we pursue those goals that we're creating, an ethical, resilient supply chain that's going to deliver for our customers. I mentioned about the fact that we are very customer-centric. As a matter of fact, the most customer-centered company on the planet. And in order to deliver for our customers, we want to make sure that, again, we're aligning to our values, but also making sure that we're delivering on our sustainability goals. Because we know ultimately that when we do that, it's going to positively impact the communities where our customers live. Because we ultimately want to create good for people and planet in our work. And these goals that we're trying to achieve are going to help us do just that. And so I want to move on to my next question for the panelists. So how do you ensure that your strategies are mapped to your sustainability goals? And if you could, just identify maybe one initiative your team has embarked on to support sustainability in the supply chain.
Okay, yeah, I'm happy to start there. So first, in terms of mapping our strategy to sustainability, I think I would phrase it a little bit different. Sustainability is part of our strategy and integrated into our strategy from the beginning, right? Where we are at this point in the world, I think the industry now knows that sustainability is not optional. At one point it kind of was a fad that if you had some extra resources, maybe you do it. But now it's an imperative, right? The younger generations, if you will, have set a tone and have demanded that we do better. And it's true. And we have a responsibility as leaders within our organizations, the suppliers that are in this room, to find a path to have not only to do your work, but now do it in a way that's responsible and impactful both to communities and to the environment. I'll give you just a brief example of a program that we launched this year that we're very proud of. It's called the R3 program, Restore, Reuse, and Recycle. I want to highlight Monica Wright. Monica, could you stand up for a second if you're in the room? Okay, let's give Monica a round of applause. Monica is our global lead for the R3 program. She has worked tirelessly to get this program launched this year. We're on track to be deployed in about 85% of the facilities in the U.S., and our goal is to be fully deployed across North America and Europe by the end of Q2. What this program does is we decided that as the world's largest procurer of a lot of PPE, it is the absolute wrong thing for us to do to take this PPE and just throw it in the trash, right? And say, oh, well, we're done with that. Let's go on to the next pair. There's a ton of value, and like I said, one of our pillars is to maximize value, that is remaining when we throw those items away. So we decided to find ways to restore it through washing and reusing it, taking it through a couple of cycles before we throw those items away. So year to date, we have avoided 360,000 pounds of landfill avoidance. And to kind of conceptualize that, in terms of weight, that's about 30 full mature elephants. And I'm talking about the real big elephants, right? It's about 30 of those. If we took the gloves that we've recycled and that we've restored and reused, and we lay them end to end, it would cover about 36,000 football fields. Wow. And that's a lot of football fields. Yeah. Don't ask me how I calculated. ChatGPT helped me out. But I was not figuring that out on my own. But that's a lot of football fields. And my point being is this: that is a significant impact to the environment. It is also achieving maximum buying value. And so the world that we're in today doesn't have to be an or, like Caleb said, which is, best value or sustainable, right? Because it's going to be extra. No, the world that we're in now, and the future must be an and.
Awesome. Thanks, Antoine. And I don't know how you followed 30 elephants, back to back, but John, you want to?
Well, just to add to what was said, I think it's so important to change the dynamic from a bolted-on optional program to a built-in approach to sustainability as well as SDI. Things that are bolted on often break. Just look at the Titanic. It scraped across an iceberg, the rivets broke, the ship sank. We've all seen the movie, and I'm not going to sing. But the reality is we have to think about how to fully embed into what we do, our standard operating procedures, our requirements, as we're setting requirements with our businesses on the things that you're providing goods and services. We need to think about how to do that in an effective way. So we've been literally working on frameworks and mechanisms to do just that. Again, we're taking a real collaborative approach with our suppliers to make sure that, number one, we understand what they're doing, and each of you are here today because it matters to you. And again, if a supplier doesn't have an actual program, we understand that a lot of suppliers, small suppliers in particular, may not have all the resources. So again, working with the Worldwide Sustainability Team, and as I mentioned, the Sustainability Exchange, we're just sharing information that can help suppliers on that journey, because it is a journey. We all started somewhere, and it's important to continue on that journey across the board.
Caleb?
Yeah, I'll say I'm coming up on my 10th peak at Amazon. I think, John, you're very similar in terms of your tenure. Seeing myself on the big screen, I realize it's been 10 long years. But I think the difference that I've seen over time is that sustainability has become a foundational layer when we're engaging our suppliers, right? Like it used to be something we sort of stacked on top of everything else. Now that's the bar to entry at Amazon. And one of the things I'll say is like the people in this room are all leaders in the industry. You're leading on the sustainability front. And a lot of times you're waiting on us, not the people in this room necessarily, but suppliers wait on us to ask the question, whereas you all should be coming with those solutions. I spoke with the team from Carrollton, who I think is here, although I'm getting a sunburn from this light. The Carrollton team, the plastic reduction that we saw in some of the waste, the scale at which Amazon operates is massive. I know you mentioned earlier that the supply chain and ensuring we have continuity of supply. One of our sites shuts down because they don't have PPE gloves. That could be 1 million items not leaving that site. And do we have the bandwidth and network to make it up? We do, but that mom that's waiting on those diapers to arrive by 5 p.m. may be let down. So like it's a big part of everything we do in ensuring supply, ensuring sustainability, and everything. In terms of my team's part to play, it's really taking those best practices from you all and scaling within the field. We talk about the R3 program. We were talking with that group a little earlier today, and I said, what are the sites that are doing it well? How do we take those best practices and how do we scale it across the US? Because again, that scale is massive, and our ability to make an impact in the space is huge.
Awesome. Thank you. And, you know, when I think about, you know, my team, you know, in terms of, you know, how we drive this work, you know, we're very close to and responsible for kind of developing our responsible procurement strategy, right? And so I'm looking at some of the leaders in the room, you know, Gabby, who's responsible for social responsibility. I'm looking at Augustin, who works with community impact. I see Jessica from supplier development and impact. And I see Hugh sitting back there from a sustainability standpoint. And so all of these leaders work together to develop what we call our responsible procurement strategy for each of our categories of spend. And we work closely to make sure that as we're developing those strategies, we have metrics, we have aspirations built into them so that we measure that, you know, on a monthly and quarterly basis. And so it's all about being intentional in developing a strategy, taking action relative to that strategy to make sure that we have outcomes that, again, deliver good for our customers and the planet. And so that's how we engage. And so moving on, I do have another question. Do you all want to hear another question? All right, let's get to another question. Let's see if we can challenge these guys. So I'm taking a little bit of a different tack, right? So we talked about a lot of positive stuff, right? But I'm wondering what internal or external barriers still exist, right? And how can we as leaders, you know, think about steering around them to better prepare and include procurement sustainability ready supplier partners into our supply chain? And so I'm going to take a different tack to, let's start with Caleb.
Sorry, one more time, Leonard.
Oh, yeah. All right. So what internal or external barriers still exist?
Yeah, I think internally, it's a lot of what I mentioned before, right? The expectation for quality, speed, cost, sustainability. We have to have all of those. I think when suppliers come to Amazon, a lot of times the scale at which we operate is intimidating. However, with my team, like we do have local footprints, and we've come a very long way in terms of bringing suppliers along for the journey, right? Bringing new suppliers in, helping build them out, build those capabilities, and get that embedded within our operations. If I think about our end customer, again, that mom receiving those diapers, the expectation is that they get it immediately. That expectation that we have for our customers, it's internal with our internal customers as well. So the speed at which we operate can be intimidating, but again, that's where my team is embedded within the field to ensure that we can set everyone up for success.
John?
Yeah, I would say there's really 3 big rocks, if you will. The first is just complexity. Amazon, as you may or may not know, is a fairly large company. In many businesses, in many geographies, the sheer size and scale of the company is enormous. And so data across all of those businesses is a challenge to actually understand the full footprint. Within finance operations, the organization I'm in, we have corporate real estate. And one of the big challenges is just understanding square footage. And so our tech team spent a lot of time developing a solution to understand exactly how much square footage we have, as one example. I think another challenge is just the fact that the numbers themselves have shifted from industry averages to product level, actual numbers. And so again, taking an average to a very specific item presents a significant amount of challenge for us. And then just overall scale, balancing short-term gains for long-term. It's always a challenge at Amazon. We're always having to weigh. And the nice thing about Amazon is we have a real long-term view across our business. For our customers, we always are looking at that. What are we sacrificing short-term for long-term and vice versa? So 3 challenges right there that I think are top of mind for me.
Thanks, John. Antoine?
Yeah, I think, when I think of kind of what are the root causes to the barriers for some of, trying to move the industry to where we need to be in terms of sustainability, I tend to think about people, right? Most things come down to people. And with people, it's generally either a will or a skill problem. Either folks don't have the mechanisms or the resources or the means, or they just don't want to do it, right? It's a will problem. I think in this industry, in this regard, we still have a lot of people that are suffering from a will problem. And the question is it, do people, why don't people want to lean in to sustainability? Is it because they believe they can't have an impact, right? They go, man, this is a really big planet. Whatever little, contribution I'm gonna make doesn't really move the needle. So I think that's some of it. People don't realize how impactful they really can be if they focus in this area. But I also think the other thing is that there's a lot of competing interest, right? And so it's, ands, but how many ands we gonna add on? We've got to at some point say, okay, where are our priorities, right? And so we are in a world where we're faced with a lot of priorities. Back in the day, things were segmented and, you kind of had a focus area, and then the internet came and it's like, okay, do this one and this one and this one. So I think people are task saturated. So what we've got to do is to kind of remove some of these barriers is we've got to find ways to integrate sustainability into the core activity. So it's not really an and, it's like a one.
Totally.
You know what I mean? It's another layer. So yeah, I think that's the challenge is getting the will there, and probably the solution. I don't think you asked for it, but I gave it anyway, which is to do full integration.
Yeah, we're here for your knowledge and your input, so we do appreciate it. And so when I think about some of the barriers that we see, similar to all of you, I would say right? When I think about internal barriers, we talked about the scale, and the size at which Amazon, has, in order to find partners that can actually support us, but it's also the speed at which we move, right? And finding suppliers that can actually have the scale and move as quickly as we do in the market. And I think the second piece is, as we kind of think about, from an external standpoint, supplier readiness across all the regions in which we operate, right? We're a global company operating in, 20 plus countries around the world. I think more than that in some instances. But, when we think about finding suppliers that can actually support our supply chain, we run into, varying degrees of readiness. And so one of the things that we've done to think about that from a global procurement organization is we've actually developed a supplier readiness and development program. And I'm looking around the room to see if I see Pablo Adamson.
In the back.
Where's Paul?
All in the back.
Oh, there he is, Paul. so who's working to develop a readiness program to help us make sure that we've got suppliers who are ready to go that can grow and scale with Amazon. And so these are a couple of things that we see, and a couple of things, Antoine, to your point, answers that we've started to create to kind of address some of those realities that we see in the market. And so I want to move to, a next question that we have. And so when we talk about opportunities, right? So when we think about emerging trends, opportunities, or innovations, what of these have you seen within procurement sustainability? Like, what are you keeping your eye on as the next thing from a procurement sustainability standpoint? And maybe let's start with
I was going to say, top
John.
of mind for me right now, many of you may have seen Andy Jassy's thoughts on AI back in June. AI is top of mind. It's, technology's been around a long time. We've had RPA, LLM. The new technologies that are coming out are completely game-changing. As he said in his note, what was once impossible is now possible. The speed at which we're able to operate is increasing. AI is going to change how we work. It's going to change the number of people that we need to do that work, which is going to free up those people to do other things. AI is, as he called it, a once-in-a-lifetime type of change. I'm excited about that, but there's also a cost associated with AI. We're going to be consuming a lot more energy.
Yeah.
Significant amount of energy. And I think other companies like Amazon are facing the same thing. So, that's something that's top of mind for me. But also, as we think about sustainability across all the different geographies that we operate, there are different standards. And understanding what those standards are, looking for commonalities so we can have internal standards and mechanisms that apply across is going to be important. Watching those external, country-specific, regional-specific laws and regulations, it's going to be game-changing for us because we'll have to adapt. And hopefully with you, we're going to find those right solutions that are going to drive us forward, the innovation that we need to move forward. So top of mind for me.
Thanks, John. I would agree. Collaboration is key, right? Kayla.
Yeah, I think internally what I see is we're sort of evolving towards a lot more reusable type items. We're evolving towards more localized supply from our suppliers. And it's not just what we buy, but how we buy.
Yeah.
I've recently taken over a group that's focused on reusables, and the logistics of moving things internally is extremely complex, but we're offsetting like hundreds and thousands of tons of waste by doing it. It's the right thing to do long term. Short term, there's a cost associated with it.
Yeah.
It does cost more, but we're doing the right thing and we're setting ourselves up for that long term success.
Awesome.
I would say on that, a lot of sustainability has historically been viewed as a green premium or a tax. Right. I don't think we're thinking of it that way. I think we're thinking about it as a catalyst for innovation.
Yeah.
And I think it's the whole dynamic inside of Amazon is changing from that standpoint. And I think it's changing externally as well. You're here. You're proof that that is in fact true. We're looking at it as an opportunity to innovate on behalf of our customers to, again, deliver products and services that they need when they need it. So change of mindset.
Yeah, great point there, John. We think about some of the pilots that we think about from the energy space that we're running. Some of the things that, we think about, we have a whole sustainability fund, to look at innovation. And so that's a great point. And I can tell you, I think in some instances we found where sustainability is actually driving, cost savings. So
For sure.
From a procurement standpoint. So
Yeah,
great point.
And I think, to John's point, well, both John and Caleb's point, I mean, AI is just a game changer.
Yeah.
And it will get integrated into pretty much all decision making that we undergo, and the sustainability space is no exemption. I think what really excites me about innovation is, again, the mindset shift for everyone, and the shift more so kind of like to what Caleb was saying, was reusables. In our space, we're seeing folks beginning to understand the importance of upcycling. And the distinction between upcycling and recycling, let's say y'all go home and you look at your closets, right? And I know some of y'all probably should be ashamed of yourself. You got way too much stuff in your closet, right? And so the question is, what are you gonna do with those items? Are you going to throw them away, And even in a responsible manner, you throw them away, which is recycling. We send it somewhere and it gets broken down in a responsible way. But now what folks are starting to understand is the value of upcycling, where, and quite honestly, let's say in the home space, people have always understood, get your clothes, take them to the Goodwill. Somebody could reuse them, right? But now there's technology where we can break these materials down, put them into pellets, especially with polyester, rebuild something else with the same material. People are catching on to that. They're seeing that there is a path, not fully yet, to cost reduction. And I think it's exciting, and as it expands, it's gonna change everything.
Awesome. Great point, Antoine. And so, let's think about, and leave all of our, audience here with a few key takeaways, right? So one of the things I would ask you in 60 seconds or less, like, what would your advice be to, all of our supplier partners? What one piece of advice would you leave them with?
I would say attend events like this and bring your friends.
Yeah.
Bring your suppliers with you. We're collaborating with suppliers to encourage sustainability plans. We're encouraging and collaborating with our suppliers to sign up for the Climate Pledge. Bring your friends, bring your suppliers to events like this and make the commitment.
Awesome. Caleb?
Yeah, I think, so internal Amazon, when we're bringing in new hires, we have what we call the hiring bar. And the theory is that everyone we bring in is better than 50% of what we have internally. I think for our suppliers, it's the same. If you're an existing supplier, to stay in that top 50%, you're coming with these innovative ideas. Like, you are experts in your space, and just assume that we don't know what we don't know in a lot of it. Like, we'll be collaborative, we'll work together on solutions. We may come with a problem to solve, but if you're coming with that solution, I think you're a step ahead of the game, and there's a long, long partnership to be had with Amazon. I met a company this week, Stardust, and they're in the room here somewhere. It was one of those things that I didn't know that we had an opportunity there. They were coming with a solution, and it's something that could very well work out here.
It's awesome.
So I think keep those coming, and you'll stay in that top.
Antoine?
I would say challenge yourself. I mean, y'all are here because we feel that you are integral to the Amazon network. Challenge yourself to move towards a zero waste operation, right? If you can just set that North Star, you won't get there today or tomorrow, but we need goals to move us to where we want to go. So I think the most important thing you can do is just set the goal and start the work.
Awesome. And so for me, I would just, be pretty concise. I would say start where you are. At Amazon, we have a leadership principle called bias for action. And so have that bias and collaborate. I think collaboration is key. And so collaborate boldly and be transparent as you collaborate, because what you have to understand is every little step matters. You don't have to take big steps. If you keep taking small steps, eventually you'll get there. So thank you all for your time. Thank you for your attention. And let's go and let's make a sustainable future. Thank you all.
That was amazing. Wow, can't stop smiling. Awesome. Can we please give another round of applause to these incredible leaders? Awesome. I heard a few things, right? So a few notes, as I said, I've been taking notes. Awesome. So hopefully you all are continuing to take those notes. So I heard from Antoine that we do procure with a purpose, right? I also heard that we are the largest purchaser of safety gloves, safety shoes, which means that we are the largest purchaser of a lot of things out there. One of the things that is tied to that is Amazon. One of Amazon's goals is to be the world's safest organization, which ties to one of our sustainability element of human right. So I heard from John that our supply chain make up 75% of our carbon emission, and that change management will be critical in how we collectively advance this mission together. I heard from Caleb that sustainability is a must-have and not a nice-to-have, and that it is a bar to entry. So I will add that it is a bar to continuing, engaging, and remaining an Amazon supplier partner. I heard from Leonard that we have incredible supplier readiness programs. So we're not telling you all join us and leaving you all by yourself. We are saying join us, and we are doing our best to provide you with the resources, the tools, the trainings, all of the things we can to help you execute against this collective vision. And we are also asking you, tell us what you got, because I'm sure a lot of you in the room have existing supplier readiness programs. I'm sure a lot of you have figured it out. Help us understand where you have figured out. Let's bridge the gaps together. So also, of course, Leonard mentioned that Pablo, who is in the back of the room, we like to call him the GOAT, and wonderful Salah sitting here are leading incredible and phenomenal supplier readiness programs. So definitely make sure you connect with the two of them. Salah, could you please wave so they can see where you are? And Pablo in the back, awesome. So I also know that the smell of food may be calling some of you. Is it? I think I heard you. I heard the whispers. Okay, so our next one is lunch, because we are running a little bit behind. Lunch was supposed to be 45 minutes, but I'm sure you all can do it in 30 minutes. Can you? Okay, I didn't see many hands up. Who can do it in 30 minutes? Okay. All right, so could we please ask you to actually take a 30 minutes lunchtime to actually feed your soul, feed yourself, and then we'll come back. The afternoon is gonna be full of a lot of interactive engagement and conversations where we wanna hear from you, right? The incredible speakers this morning have told you a lot about what we are looking for, how we operate, what are the challenges. So now we gave you all the recipe to really continue growing with us. You know our challenges, you know our solutions. I mean, you have this, you know our challenges, and I'm sure you do have the solutions. So not only keep coming to the solution to our existing problems and challenges, but also think long-term, right? And come with the solutions that we did not know to address the problems that we did not even know exist. So thank you again. So lunch is going to be outside to your right. Enjoy. And I see Caroline looking at me saying, Wanda, you forgot something. I know I did. So as you are networking and enjoying your food, please check out our sustainability resource showcases, which are located outside. You'll see a few pop-up banners. You'll see some Amazonians. They will be there to continue the networking and to continue addressing any questions you have. I see some people already standing up being called. So thank you so much. We'll see you in about 30 minutes. Hello, hello. The room seems empty. What's going on? Are we still eating? I know the food was delicious. Thank you. Awesome. Can we bring you all back? Can we bring everyone back? Because the next conversation is going to be another amazing, amazing one that you will not want to miss. Should we get going? I still see some folks moving around. I hope you enjoyed lunch. Hope it was amazing. If it was amazing, can we make some noise? Yay. Lunch was amazing. So we're going to go ahead and get started, as I wouldn't want our amazing, amazing leaders to keep waiting. So the next conversation is really a group of Amazon supplier partners, each and every one of whom is exemplifying what it means to advance procurement sustainability based on our definition of procurement sustainability. As you remember, it's 4 key pillars. It's driving the inclusion of disadvantaged-owned businesses in our supply chain. It is really, reducing our carbon footprint, our waste. It is driving a zero human right violation. It is also doing good in the community through our wonderful community impact initiatives. I see Gabby looking at me. I see all of those wonderful. So with no further ado, I will bring these wonderful, wonderful panelists, starting with our moderator, Hugh. Hugh is actually the lead of our carbon. Hey, Hugh is already here. Okay, Hugh, was I too slow? No, come on by. Just kidding. Awesome. Hugh leads our environment initiative for the Global Procurement Organization. And then I would love to also bring Rex Hamry, Head of Sustainability Consulting and Commissioning JLL, Ben Govey, Global Supplier Impact and Sustainability Lead Accenture, Leo Goodall, VP of Sales, Social Value Portal, Rachelle Shifton, Senior Managing Director, Sustainability at Cushman & Wakefield. With no further ado, please, let's bring them on. Thank you. Excellent.
Hello, everybody. Good afternoon, and welcome to this panel discussion. So it's Expanding Horizons and Sustainability as a Competitive Advantage. It's almost one of the worst slots to have is the one immediately after lunch, so thank you for peeling yourselves away from your feed to listen to this panel discussion. My name's Hugh Barry, and I program manage for our Global Procurement Sustainability team. And as Wande said, I focus on supplier decarbonisation and other environment topics, like waste. So I hope you enjoy this conversation that promises to be both practical and inspiring as we really drill down to how do we convert sustainability from something that is not just something that we ought to do out of responsibility, but also makes business sense and can be leveraged as a competitive advantage. As we navigate the complex and evolving landscape of sustainability, it's clear that no two journeys look the same. And indeed, if we look around the room now, it will be clear that each and every one of you will be at different stages in your sustainability journey, whether you're just getting started or whether you're in a position where you've already established yourselves on that pathway and are continuously iterating and improving. So here we've got panelists that represent companies that are not only committed to sustainability and have set targets, but are also continuously kind of moving through that process and finding ways to leverage the work that they're doing and turn it into a competitive advantage in ways that make business sense. They'll be sharing concrete examples of how sustainability initiatives have led to cost savings, opened doors to new markets, and strengthened their brand, and also helped to mitigate risk. And when we say sustainability here, this could be really narrow and just looking at environment or carbon, or indeed it could be other sustainability initiatives from other sustainability pillars as well. So I hope that these stories will help you see what's possible and what's within reach, both with what you're doing at the moment and as you continue to move down this path and as you map your own route toward a more sustainable and successful future. So with that, let's meet our panelists. I know Wande already introduced everyone, but we've got Ben Ngobi, who's the Global Supplier Impact and Sustainability Lead at Accenture. Then we've got Leo Goodall, who's a VP of Sales at the Social Value Portal. And then we've got Rex Hamry, who's the Head of Sustainability Consulting and Commissioning at JLL. Okay, so To kick off, let's start with a quick round, and we'll go down the line for this. So can each of you share a profile of your business and also your role within it, and when sustainability became a core part of your business strategy? And if you could just tell us a little bit about what drove that shift. So Ben, over to you.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much. Can you hear me?
Yeah.
Oh, great. It's really amazing to be here today to come and share what Accenture is doing to drive and advance responsible business. So who am I? Already, as you know, Ben Ngobi. I'm based out of the London office, and I lead our ESG supply chain sustainability program. So what that means is, how are we trying to advance the engagement of our suppliers across environment, human rights, conflict minerals, and accessible procurement, inclusive sourcing, to make sure that we are showing progress towards building responsible and sustainable business models. Why do we do that? It's because Accenture is a signatory to the United Nations Global Compact principles. So that means we have to adhere and drive that kind of code of responsible business within our business, but also within our supply chain. Now, Accenture is a very large professional services company which delivers IT, technology, digital transformation for governments and large businesses around the world to really help them innovate and reinvent and drive profitability. I describe the two in the way I do. It's because you've got power in terms of our purchasing power to do good around the world in terms of supply chain, and supply chain, leveraging our purchasing power is how we're going to implement that. The personal side that comes in is actually I was one of the first people who studied environmental sustainability at university about 25 years ago, before it became what it is today. So really, I work for a company that is committed through the UNGC principles in the procurement function, where I report into the Chief Procurement Officer. Actually, I brought my boss here, he's right at the back there, to try and truly embed sustainability in how we do business. And have an amazing team spread around the world, all focused on different aspects of our work across ESG due diligence, driving inclusive and sustainable sourcing, as I mentioned earlier, as well as flowing down those ethics I talked about. So you've got the UNGC guiding principles. How do we then flow that down to our supply chain through our supplier standards of conduct? So very happy to be here to share some of the progress we've made over time. But really, this is kind of my life's work. I'm very passionate about this topic, as some of you in this room will know. And everything we do is around driving value for the business, driving impact for our communities, helping our suppliers transform their businesses, as well as figuring out, can we also drive revenue, right? Reduce risk in the work we do. So thank you very much for inviting me here today, and hopefully I can share a little bit more detail about what we do. Thank you.
Thanks, Ben. My name is Leo from the Social Value Portal, and we are a tech for good solution that measures social impact. So sustainability is a broad church. We pick up once you are doing no harm. So we presume you're doing no harm. Compliance around sustainability, energy, wastewater, you've got that covered. And we pick up where you need to do some good. So just because you're doing no harm doesn't mean you're making a positive impact. And that's what we measure. So we quantify business activities, business decisions through procurement, through corporate sustainability to understand where you are making the most impact. And that is around activities that we all care about as caring humans, citizens, things like jobs and skills, things like local spend, things like driving the economy, classic things like donation of time, donation of hours, goods. And we help you to understand in pounds and pence or dollars and cents which activity has the greatest impact to the economy and therefore to society. So I'm pleased to be amongst friends. We do that extensively with Accenture, also with JLL, coincidentally. And we're starting to do that with the Amazon supply chain. Amazon look at how they leverage their procurement spend, which is significant, to better impact communities. I could go on, but I think I'll let you pick up, and we'll talk about it throughout the rest of the panel.
Thank you, Leo. Hi, everyone. I'm Rex Hamry. I lead our sustainability consulting and commissioning business for North America. And so JLL, or Jones Lang LaSalle, is a professional services firm focused on commercial corporate real estate and investment. So pretty much buildings, the built environment. We do a wide variety of services within that. And so our sustainability journey as a company goes back really more than 20 years. And it really started with driving savings, driving efficiency, and the day-to-day performance improvement of the built environment and buildings for our corporate and investor clients. And then fast forward, to 2021, and we were an early signatory of the Climate Pledge, and really want to highlight the leadership that Amazon has given there. And then also in 2020, we were one of the first 7 global firms with validated science-based targets from the SBTI initiative. So, I wanted to drive a little bit of specificity into kind of like some of those commitments and what we're trying to accomplish. It's been really great to hear today so far already, highlights around 2040 net zero carbon and what we're trying to accomplish in the interim and what's necessary. And of course, I would just like to highlight that if there's questions about that, I think all of us on the stage have kind of been through that. So if you're early in that experience of what type of commitments do we need to make, what type of goals do we need to set, and then how do we start progressing towards those, that's exactly the type of work that we do on a day-to-day basis for all of our clients. And so just to finish, we have over 1,000 dedicated sustainability professionals globally within JLL, doing nothing but finding ways to improve sustainable performance across clients' entire value chains. And so that's something that is, a real highlight to where JLL has seen a competitive advantage and a differentiation in the marketplace, as well as something that's really just critical as an organization, as a global leader in our part of the industry.
Thank you so much, Rex. Okay, and so to go more narrowly, or to deep dive now more on specific initiatives, programs, and outcomes, I'd really like to hear from all of you about specific examples of sustainability initiatives, be they environment related or more widely in sustainability, that had a net measurable positive impact on the business and really kind of allowed that conversion of sustainability into competitive advantages. So Rex, why don't we keep it with you, and then we'll go back down the line.
Okay, great. So the first thing that needs to be highlighted is we have both an internal corporate story, and we have an external or a client services story. So like I just described, we have over 1,000 people doing client services. So this has turned into a business for us that's several $100 million in revenue every year, providing sustainability solutions across the real estate value chain for clients. Then, just as important, we have internal corporate commitments. So we have over 100,000 employees, more than 400 corporate offices globally, and all of those, that is the entity committed to, as a signatory of the Climate Pledge, committed to decarbonization by 2040, and really driving across our entire operation sustainability. So first of all, I think the client service one is kind of an obvious example. We really saw a great growth opportunity, especially in the last 5 years, around clients really needing practical, implementable sustainability solutions. Then, what that does is then allows us to actually start to accomplish our internal goals. So 96% of JLL's emissions are managed properties. So that's one of the reasons it's really valuable for us to have several dozen people every day who work with various business units for Amazon around identifying those decarbonization targets and actually implementing improvement. Because if we don't solve those problems, we can't solve our internal goals. And so that's a good example of how all of this is interrelated. And I'll go even deeper. You told me to get specific, and Hugh. So as a specific example, we are working on developer-tenant partnerships where one of the problems in the built environment is, who realizes all of these gains around sustainability and investments? We know it goes straight to, NOI and net operating income improvements, but you have to actually find a pathway where both the developer, investor, owner of the building, as well as the tenant realize those benefits. And that's something that we're really driving, that connectivity around identifying solutions so everyone can accomplish their financial goals and sustainability as well as their environmental goals.
Thanks, Rex. Keen to hear your thoughts.
No, let me start. I'll start. There are a number of ways that our organisations use social value and sustainability to gain competitive advantage. I'll start in your place. So we have organisations that are looking to attract occupiers. Prologis, for example, here, they are trying to fill their spaces. JLL are managing properties. They are trying to work with organisations and customers who prioritise social value, and they communicate that. So if you come and stay here, if you work with us, we're able to not just give you a great product, a great solution, a great space, we're also actually actively supporting the community. And these are local communities which integrating people further away from the labour market into our space. So if you're making that choice as to where to go or where to spend your money or where to spend your time, and you've got two really close options, going with an organisation that delivers social impact, in addition to all of the things that you want, gives you the commercial advantage. It's also a very good differentiator, especially in FM. I know we have a number of FM organisations here, where we're driving keen prices. You're under pressure to deliver quickly. There's a competition for talent, and actually being an organisation that prioritises people, first of all your people, your colleagues, your customers, and doing that in a way that makes your business sustainable is attractive not just to colleagues who are within the business, but also attracting talent outside of the business, and actually also securing cheaper finance. So we have a number of lenders who utilise social impact as a way of deciding how you can access finance and more advantageous products. And that's very active within the organisations that we work with. And then I'll just talk a little bit about the environment that we work in within the UK, because it's coming and it's already started here with Amazon. So within the UK, the public sector will secure goods, works and services, and they'll evaluate your cost, your quality, and the social value as part of the procurement process. So it's not just enough to have a great product or deliver a great service at a great price. They're making decisions about which suppliers to work with, and I do this with Accenture, who are a strategic supplier, because they want to use the public pound to go further. Now, Amazon has a bigger spend and more people than some small countries. And so taking that power and leveraging that in their supply chain is what we're starting to do with the team here.
For sure, thank you. And Ben, keen to hear how Accenture's programs have made not only social responsibility and environmental sense, but also driven positive impact and made sense from a business point of view too.
Oh, no, absolutely. So we are living in a very evolving climate. So there are regulatory requirements. Clients require additional value beyond just delivering what you intend to deliver as a service. And also we've got talent, right? We need to be engaging young people to be able to do the great work they do, but a lot of them are driven by different values. So how we do that in our team is, for example, we've got what we call the Supplier Development Program. This is where we help and provide free mentoring for businesses over a 12 to 18 month period. Do you know what happens? Over time, those businesses have grown. They actually partner with us to actually deliver for clients. And in some cases in the UK, for example, we do partner with the social value team where some of the suppliers, some of the suppliers will go on to deliver client work with us, right? So that's a very tangible way of you're building the supplier base, the capability, And then ultimately, that is driving social and economic impact through the delivery of work to our clients. The next thing that we have in our team is what we call the decarbonization program, supply chain decarbonization program. Actually, that was something that my old boss came up and said, hey, you've got this wonderful supply development program. Now let's make sure that we create additional differentiation for them to help make them be ready to align to the science-based target initiatives, which their other clients will help them. So what actually happened then is we linked that to our corporate targets. So we have a target this year to require 90% of our key suppliers to disclose their emission reduction targets and initiatives. But actually, some of them were struggling on that. So what we did is actually we invested. So there's a team in London and India which are actively helping a group of suppliers to go through and set sustainability targets, which are aligned to the Science-Based Target Initiative. And through that, quite a lot of know-how. So we know why suppliers struggle. We know some of the change management required, because just saying that do X, Y, Z doesn't mean we all have the same capabilities to achieve that. So actually, we built a really good understanding of what really takes a supplier to set a target. And actually then, our client colleagues have come in, and now they go and deliver that for clients, you see. So we are kind of a sandbox. We set a target to help our suppliers, but then being who we are as a type of business, that innovation then benefits additional other clients. The other piece I want to talk to is around certain legal reporting obligations, right? So yes, we talk about cost savings, profitability, but certain aspect of our work is to do with understanding the human rights, child labor risks in your supply chain, right? So that's avoiding risk, avoiding cost for your business. So what that means is we are going through our supply chain. So we've implemented our own platform, which is alive across 50 countries, where we are asking suppliers to give us certain information about their supply chain sustainability programs. And through that, we are identifying suppliers which might need additional help. Do they have critical gaps, right? And that means we are identifying potential risks in advance, right? Which means we help those suppliers, we get them into a room, we discuss, share, and see how we can jointly collaborate. And then lastly, one other additional innovation that our team has come up, which is also being leveraged by our client team, is our supplier standard of conduct, which I talked about at the beginning. So essentially, when a supplier doesn't agree to our supplier standards or have an equivalent, we are using AI to literally do the clause-by-clause validation, right? And that has created such great efficiencies that we now also become an example for other teams that are trying to drive efficiencies in their teams. So that is how we kind of become very specific in building things that help our company achieve our priorities, but then also think about the value of that beyond that by helping to engage young people. I've got a young, amazing person in Argentina. Literally, she learned Portuguese in 8 months because she wanted to deliver a program in Brazil. So that to engage that person on the team, you have to provide that exciting work. They stretch themselves and they do amazing work. And that means that's retained talent for our team.
Thanks so much, Ben. I see so many parallels as well in the supplier decarbonisation activities you were talking about that you do versus the ones that we're doing within GPO as well. I think there's a lot of equities there, a lot of similarities. And indeed, I've had conversations with quite a few people in the room on that front. And we were talking there about how can the initiatives that you do within your company affect your own company. But I think there's a lot of opportunities there to be doing things that trickle down across entire industries and supply chains, i.e. setting targets, how do we better measure the embodied carbon in the goods and services we procure? So I think there are a lot of things there that have intrinsic benefits, but also can permeate more broadly as well. Okay, so moving along now, and I think the gold standard would be for every sustainability initiative we have to have a net positive return on investment and make both sense from a responsibility point of view, but also a financial point of view. But sadly, that isn't the case in 100% of time. So I think one thing let's talk about now is, have we encountered any trade-offs between sustainability and other business priorities, and how do we kind of manage those competing pools? Rex, let's start with you.
Great. So we always experience those trade-offs. And I think that that's something that even as the industry continues to advance and sustainability becomes more and more standard practice, we will still face those trade-offs because sustainability requires you to kind of elevate the analysis and elevate the consideration of various decisions when you're putting your investment and your focus into certain aspects of your operations. So yes, we face that question every single day. The main thing I'd want to focus on around elevating that assessment or that conversation is really trying to go beyond just a simple payback. And so, can your organization establish an internal cost of carbon? Can your organization, is there, an internal rate of return hurdle that's been established for investments that you can then apply to the smaller scale of how we're investing in sustainability? That would be the main thing I would encourage, is if your organization is not having that type of a conversation around your sustainability decisions, then there's still a lot of opportunity to start to improve the way you're making those type of considerations. It's always interesting to me when we're putting forward a sustainability investment that has direct efficiency and therefore dollar savings improvement, and then we say, well, the client or the team will say, well, how quickly does it pay back? And that's informative, but that's also only part of the story. What are the overall benefits across the entire sustainability spectrum that we're realizing from this? What's the value of the fact that we are now being accretive to our overall publicly stated global corporate goals? And what are the actual, long-term returns of that investment given the facility or the portfolio that we're investing in? If the plan is to dispose of some of those assets in a certain time frame, that changes the analysis. If you're going to occupy that facility for 20 plus years, is the real key question, does it pay for itself in 5 years or 3 years or less? That's really not the best question. So I think I would just encourage everyone to start to try to advance the analysis and the assessment of those decisions in a smarter financial way.
I would agree. I would say that simply we are a data business, and we are looking at the data around need within communities. We're looking at the saving to society as a result of an initiative, and also the economic input and influence of an initiative. And what that does brutally is it shows you in financial terms which initiatives have a bigger financial impact than another. And what that allows you to do is to make quite quick decisions about what you will do or you won't do, or what you'll invest further in. And I think that allows for the subjectivity of, do I like working on this program? Do I think this has a bigger impact? It removes that subjectivity with just plain black and white, dollars and cents, this is the benefit. Then you can make decisions, and then you can better align strategy. Now, just because something has a bigger number doesn't mean it's better. Impact changes based on who's receiving the benefit, and also based on locality. But that's really when your business decision comes into play. Where are you operating? Where do you want to make a longer term impact? Where are you removing yourself from as an organization? Where are you majoring? Where do you want to prioritize? So I would say it comes in twofold. Definitely, business decisions need to be made. But with the data and the evidence, you can see a lot more clearly about the strategy. And then organizations need to lift this up. So sustainability is a business priority. It's not possible for it to be usurped by another priority, because the executive brought in, it's part of strategy, it's a priority to your customers. It should be aligned to your financial return on investment. So that's when you start to remove those instances of, well, should we be doing this or not?
I think I'll concur with my fellow panelists here. We've got the benefit of experience. So our learning curve has taken us, it's been a long time since we've been on this journey. So when I think back to the beginning, when we started, it's around trying small projects to see what the return of those projects are going to be, right? Because if you can prove out whether developing a certain set of suppliers will provide a certain return, help you be differentiated in your RFPs, for example, that helps you then build longer and bigger projects in the long term. So, for example, at the very beginning, you're looking at energy efficiency and starting very small. If I do X, Y, Z, is that going to save us money? And what does that mean in terms of investment? And then when I look at it now, when you look at decarbonization program, honestly, to invest into these many businesses that we're supporting at our cost to help them set targets means they will also be differentiated. So we are not just helping Accenture, we are now helping everybody else on the journey, and that means we are actually driving value beyond our four walls. So in our space, it's been about starting very small, proving to your leaders that yes, this is something that can be executed, this is something that can be scaled, but not starting very big at the very beginning, because then it's going to be very difficult to convince your leaders to give you that investment. So that's been our experience, and we're very fortunate that we've got really strong leaders who have always been invested in our team, which I'm super grateful. Actually, our CPO is here, said, hey, come and join us at this event. That goes to show you that investing in the supply impact and sustainability team across the different pillars which I mentioned at the beginning is driving value for the business and our communities. So I would say start small, right, and prove out those, whatever it could be, those in small projects. If that helps you to be more differentiated to win business, if that helps you save, I don't know, an energy cost, if that helps you to retain people, that is how you then go on to the bigger projects, which will drive even greater impact.
Sure, thanks, Ben. So I'm conscious here we've got such a broad range of expertise representing so many sectors. So I think the next thing I'd like to focus on is, particularly making it relevant for the audience in the room, is where do we see the big opportunities for sustainable innovation kind of in your specific space from now through to the end of the decade? Rex, let's start with you.
Oh, I get to start again. Okay. We also have 7 minutes staring at us right now. So here we go. I'm pretty sure they fast forwarded that at some point. But we're gonna land this. So practical innovation is a term that we try to use a lot in our team, because we have really seen a pivot towards, what is value creating, what is actually going to drive strategic competitive advantage, as well as have all of these benefits, such as social value, community impact, improving the traction and retention of the next generation of talent for all of our clients. So we have to accomplish all of those. So we have to be really practical about identifying the opportunities that are going to first get over that first hurdle of, is this going to benefit our business? So I think that driving access to renewable energy, both on-site and off-site, really being thoughtful about site selection for all of our operations. When you've got a large logistics facility, when going through the actual process of, okay, where are we siting this, not just from the standard performance metrics, but also from the decarbonization metrics, and really incorporating that into the entire life cycle of your operations and the decision matrix that you're applying into that program. And then secondly, from those operations, how are we comprehensively allocating capital dollars in a smart and sustainable way? So something that has been surprisingly difficult, but is really advancing quickly now, is these companies have often billion-dollar capital plans. We're spending the money anyway on various initiatives, whether it's building new facilities or upgrading facilities because of life cycle requirements, making sure that every dollar of that capital spend has that consideration of sustainability and all of the definitions of an organization's sustainable goals incorporated into that decision tree. And that's what we really see. So I don't know whether or not that would be super defined as innovation, but it's definitely a lot of opportunity, which is another term that we've heard a lot today, and it's really something that's definitely urgent, and that there's a ton of urgent opportunity for us to drive that type of improvement across the entire industry.
Okay, so I'll start simply with some organizations here who are a little bit smaller or less mature in this space. I would say that what's definitely coming is a focus from large organizations and procurement teams on making better business decisions, utilizing data around social impact. And so I would suggest that if you were revising your strategy or starting out or looking to progress on this journey, you were really, really clear about what you valued and how you value that. So let's be super clear about what's a priority to you, what are you best aligned to deliver because of your capability and your capacity, and go deep into that. It can be really easy to try and be really broad and look at this great thing over here and see what your competitors are doing over there, but it's much better and authentic and genuine and sustainable and relevant to really major on what you value as an organization, what you prioritize, what your people and your customer think seriously about, and to start collecting the data against that. So when you do meet your progressive customers who are starting to innovate in this space and to think more broadly about social impact and sustainability, you're ready to say, hey, we've been doing this. We've got the experience. We've got more data than you have to suggest this is the right thing to do. We're also finding more information about the communities in which we operate, and this is going to make a better impact for you, Amazon or Accenture or JLL, and therefore we're going to focus on doing this with you. So I think two things. There's a huge amount of data, but before you start rifling through all of that, focus on what is important to you and your customers and come out with a really clear strategy.
Thanks, Leo. Very good answers. The whole point around collaborating, around supplier PPAs, it's going to be a way to really help our suppliers decarbonize. And definitely the whole point about understanding your client and delivering to make sure that you are differentiated by adding to their corporate goals, right? So you're making yourself relevant in your delivery to your clients, to the point just made, is absolutely key. And I think from my point, the last piece is around collaboration. I genuinely believe that we need to be joined as one because we all come with different assets, different capabilities, different experiences. If I can help bring an expert who can help you understand your business impact in terms of your sustainability impact, maybe somebody else brings toolkits to help learn on another kind of aspect of sustainability. So I believe that building these enduring and deep partnerships are going to unlock a lot of the potential that we can have to genuinely advance the whole point around decarbonization. Because when you look at the Paris 1.5 degree trajectory, for example, we are currently up over 2%, right? So that is actually going to mean we have to now get into mitigation, like climate mitigations, like flood defenses and all of that stuff, which will cost us a lot of money. But if we jointly start to think about our impact and how we can jointly collaborate, so that's why I'm very grateful to be here, we will drive greater impact, and that is shared impact, which will benefit our future generations. And then on the social side, I think we still all have to continue helping those suppliers, those smaller suppliers who don't have access, to capital or don't have access to networks. When we look at our experiences developing those suppliers in South Africa, Australia, the UK, they go on to do amazing things, right? And then you meet them sometimes and say, hey, Ben, do you know what just happened? I won this contract. I have recruited these other additional people, right? This is why we are all in this room, because if we're not all interested in jointly working together, then I don't think we'll make great progress. So that's kind of my piece, collaboration to move us the needle forward, as it were.
Thanks so much, Ben. Okay, so that brings us to the end of the panel discussion now. I look forward to continuing the discussions with all of you in the pillar roundtables we've got in a little bit. I just wanted to say thank you to all of you for your attention and also your attendance here today. It really does mean a lot. And also I wanted to say thank you to our panelists for the insight and thoughts they've given today as well. So big round of applause, please, for the panelists.
Wow, another incredible panel. How did you all like it? Awesome, awesome, awesome. They do indeed deserve another round of applause, so thank you. Our fourth panelist couldn't make it. They extend their apologies. We brought all of these wonderful suppliers to the stage today for a few reasons.